This lesson, we will be multiplying fractions by whole numbers using a standard algorithm. Before we begin this idea, let's discuss what exactly is multiplication. You should remember that multiplication is skip counting by equal amounts. Now, if we had whole numbers and we skip counted by, let's say, the number 2, we would count plus 2 every time. So that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, so on. In other words, each time we would gain an additional 2. We can also say multiplication is repeated addition. That would be if we were to repeatedly add 2. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, kind of like in our skip counting and above. Now, what would that look like as a fraction? Let's discuss what that would look like. So if we were to skip count by equal amounts, and let's say those equal amounts are 1/4, we would say 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. That would be skip counting. What would that look like with repeated addition? That would be 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. That's repeated addition. Now, these are all multiplying. It's a way of multiplying. But now let's look at something different. What if we were to take that idea and let's put it with a recipe? Let's say that we are going to cook something that calls for 1/4 a stick of butter. And we want to double that recipe. To double that recipe means we would need this 2 times. So we could say 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 2/4. So we use repeated addition to double that recipe. What we could have done is we could have said 2 times 1/4 equals 2/4. We're going to examine this concept a little bit further. Let's try the idea of doubling it with another fraction. Imagine you want to double a recipe that now calls for 3/4 of a stick of butter. How many sticks of butter will you need? So we know that we need 3/4 of one stick. We have a model right here that shows how much we would need. It shows a rectangle broken up into 4 sections or fourths. 3 of these sections together is 3/4. Doubling that amount will give us a total of 6 sections. And let's see what that would look like. Now, if we notice this, we're going to notice that our denominator is going to stay the same. We know that we need these 6 sections of butter, and we're not going to use these 2 sections of butter. So we're going to use 6/4 of butter, because that is the same as 3/4 times 2. Now, if we were to skip count or repeatedly add, we would say 3/4 plus 3/4. But there is a different way of doing this. If you'll notice that if you have your whole number and you multiply your whole number times your numerator, you're going to get your answer while your denominator stays the same. So let's examine what that looks like. If we say 3 times 2 is going to equal 6, and your denominator does not change at all. As an equation, that's going to look just like this. 3/4 times 2 equals 3 times 2 out of 4, which equals 6 out of 4. So in other words, the rule for multiplying is to take your whole number, which was 2 at this case, multiply it times your numerator, which was 3 in this case. That will give you your answer, which was 6, and your denominator stays the same because your sizes aren't changing. So how many sticks of butter will we need? We would need 6/4 of a stick of butter. Now, this is an improper fraction. Later, we're going to learn how to change that into a mixed number. But for us right now, we're going to leave this as 6/4. Let's continue to explore this a little bit further. Okay, in this problem, we have two different multiplications by fractions. Our top number is going to be 7 times 3/5. Now, if we use repeated addition, we would say 3/5 plus 3/5 plus all the way until we had it 7 times. But we're not going to do that. What we're going to do now is we're going to use the standard algorithm, which says multiply your whole number times your numerator. So over here, we're going to say 7 times 3. Your denominator will stay 5. What will that equal? That will equal 21/5. Let's do that again. Let's look at 2 times 1/4. Why don't you go ahead and solve this on your own first and see if you're solving it the correct way. Try and get the equation here like I have. Press pause at this time and solve this problem using the standard algorithm. When you are done, press play to watch me solve it. Okay, hopefully you said I'm going to multiply my whole number times my numerator, which was 2 times 1. You're going to leave your 4, your denominator is the same because you have the equal parts, and that is going to equal 2/4. Hopefully you did a good job. Let's do a few more before we let you go and practice on your own. At this time, I want you to solve A, C, D, and E on your own. You're going to press pause, solve all three. I want you to write the equation on the lines, and then after you've written each equation, you're going to write the equal sign with the answer next to it. I want to see that you're able to use the standard algorithm to multiply these numbers. As soon as you're done, press play again to check. Okay, for C, you should have said 5 times 10, and your denominator stays 11, which equals 50/11ths. For D, you should have said 8 times 4. 3 is your denominator, and that is going to equal 32/3. And for E, you should have said 3 times 9. Your denominator stays 4. And how many fourths would you have in this answer? You would have 27/4. Okay, that's the end of this lesson. Hopefully you were able to learn the standard algorithm, which is multiply your whole number times your numerator and put that over your denominator. All right, it's time for you to go and practice on your own.